We're going to take another minute or two to have other people join the call. Thank you all for joining. We'll start in a couple minutes. All right. I'm Ron Foreman, President and CEO of the Audubon Institute, and thank you for joining us on this important meeting today. It's hard to believe that 30 plus years have passed since we first cut the ribbon and opened the Audubon Aquarium in Americas. It's been an incredible success over that 30-year period. Actually, for that time, the #1 family attraction in the state of Louisiana has been the Audubon Aquarium. We projected roughly about 750,000 to 800,000 people come a year. And over that 30 plus years, we did over 30 million visits to downtown the aquarium. What's important about that is a number of things. One was the economic value of opening up the riverfront, Waterbury Park, the Audubon Aquarium of Americas, for family, for kids in New Orleans, for families in New Orleans, for the conservation programs we were doing, for the sea turtle rescues, the dolphin rescues, the manatee rescues, the Gulf of Mexico programs, all the great conservation work that's been done out of this building has had a great impact on the state of Louisiana, but also in economic development. We're so eager to get out of this COVID time of our history and get our city open again. One of the things to get people back to the restaurants, provide jobs in our hotels, again, our restaurants and our shopping in our city of New Orleans, is getting our guests to come back. We miss them dearly, and we're anxious to get this city back to where it needs to be. We're excited too that during this time period of being closed, gave us an opportunity to look at our facilities, all of our facilities, and said, what can we do to upgrade it? So when we come back, we can come back strong and come back better. And so with that, we're in the process. This is our 3rd public meeting. We had 2 previous to COVID. This is our 3rd meeting. I wish we were all together like we were for the first 2 meetings, but I hope this worked for everyone as best we can. Get as much input as we can get as we design the restoration. The key part of the aquarium is that it's going to be the same footprint that we have right now. We're building within the aquarium. We're adding a new entrance lobby. We're going to be moving the butterfly insectarium off of Canal Street to Customs House into the aquarium building. A lot of people told us they wanted one location for both facilities. We're excited about that. The new butterfly garden is going to be a beautiful facility. And most of that's going to be on the Energy IMAX theater side of the aquarium building. IMAX, over the 30-year period, has been built all over the city, in neighborhood theaters, in major outlets throughout our city, throughout the state. When we first built the IMAX theater over 25 years ago, it was the only one in town. So we're going to take that space, reuse it for moving the butterflies insectarium into the building. We're going to have one lobby that connects both together, both the aquarium and the Aquarium of the Americas, and couldn't be more excited on making that happen. I did want to tell people that we're going to turn this over in a second to Mark Ripple from the SQ Dumas Ripple architecture firm, a local architecture firm that's been working on this project. They were part of the team that actually designed this project over 30 years ago. With that team, we also have a firm out of Boston called Cambridge 7, and we're excited about their joining the team. They are by far the leading exhibit designers in the country. They just recently did the African American Smithsonian Museum in Washington, D.C. So the exhibitry within the building is going to be a big upgrade. We're excited about how we tell our story, but the most important story we want to tell to our visitors is the importance of conservation, protecting our habitat, protecting our wetlands, protecting the environment, and making sure our kids grow up loving the earth. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Mark to lead us through some of the work we're doing. Mark, are you there? Are you available?
Yes, I am. Can everybody hear me okay? We're good to go? Terrific. I wanted to start with a public service announcement for everybody that's listening in. Because this is a public meeting, it is being recorded. People can feel free to ask questions using the question and answer function that should be available there. And the link will, for the meeting, it will be recorded and documented, and it'll be on the Audubon website probably later this week after it's been downloaded. Ron, thanks so much. And it is indeed an honor, as Ron had touched on, the founding partner of our firm, Askew Dumas Ripple, Alan Askew, 30 years ago, worked diligently with the Audubon team to craft this amazing vision of what has been truly a transformational facility, here on the riverfront that the entire city can be proud of. And certainly it's an honor for me 30 years later with the same firm to be able to carry on that tradition and help in some small way to craft a vision that takes this wonderful facility through the next 30 years. So we're more than excited. We're truly honored to be here and to be a part of the project. Next slide. The mission, I like to think of the Audubon Institute, is relatively unchanged. It has always been about conservation. But the way we look at it in working with the Institute, what we see is a broadening of that significantly. It's not just about wildlife conservation or about the animals and species that we're celebrating, in the facility. It's more broadly about conservation of habitat and really about all aspects of sustainable practices that can be part of that learning environment. Anything and everything that creates a positive impact on our natural world is under now the umbrella of the Institute and under the expanded umbrella of this particular facility. In addition, because of its unique setting in downtown New Orleans, the wonderful, rich relationship with Waldenberg Park and all of the activities, it really is has been developed now as a sort of over the 30 years as having a much broader and a more inclusive community outreach. And I think, ultimately it's about creating this quality experience. And the goal, of course, for us as designers is to continue to inspire and educate our community, for the next 30 years of this institution. Next slide. So a little bit of orientation. I'm sure most of you have been to the facility, but in case you haven't, this is a view, an aerial view looking from the riverside downriver. And of course, the iconic drum that holds the Amazon habitat you see on the left, the square box immediately adjacent to the drum, that underneath that is the existing front door to the aquarium. Sort of in the middle of the screen, you see that rectangular box. That's the Mississippi River exhibit. And the areas that we're significantly influencing are on the downriver side. The current entrance to the theater is there in the sort of brownish tan color. That's the location where the new entry lobby will be located. And the way we're creating space to be able to absorb the insectarium and the other amenities into the building, as Ron had acknowledged, is the demolition of the theater. And we realized that, just not to confuse anything, we're not demolishing the portion of the building in green. The building itself stays intact. We're going inside the building, demolishing the theater. And since it's a 3-story volume, that gives us the capacity to be able to build out on new levels, to be able to incorporate the insectarium into the existing footprint. Next slide. So at the bottom is the ground floor plan. At the top is the second floor plan. There is a third floor, but of course the ticketed experience only includes 2 floors. So currently you enter on the lower left where the triangle with the word aquarium is. You go into the lobby, you go through the aquarium experience, you go up to the second floor, and you come out where you came in. In the yellow almond color on the right, that's right now the secondary entry because it's the entry to the giant screen theater. which notably above that on the second floor, you see the word event space. That's the existing Pisces room, which is a multi-use space used by the Institute and for outreach. Next slide. So the notable shift that we're doing that you saw in that entry image that we're going to come back to is the new entry lobby. So down there in lower where the double arrows with entry, we are doing the new glass lobby will extend out slightly into the aquarium plaza beyond the edge of the canopy. That's the new entry for the building. And in fact, now that the ticketed experience starts on the second floor. So if you look immediately above that on the level 2, you see the upper lobby. We go up this beautiful monumental stair up to the upper lobby, and in the areas in green, you continue up and to the left. And then you have 2 new ticketed experiences that start at roughly the same place. Where the word aquarium is and the circle to the right of it, that's going to be a new entry exhibit for the ticketed aquarium that moves to the left of the screen. And then in addition, the olive green with the arrows, that's part of a looped insectarium experience that again fills what would have been the second floor of the theater, but of course it doesn't exist right now because it's a 2-story volume and we're building a new floor in there to capture all that space. Back downstairs, what you see, event education, since we're now absorbing the Pisces room, which was our public space, we're creating a new event and education space there adjoining the lobby. Next slide. It's also important to understand that since this is a quasi-public building, although there are ticketed experiences, there's a significant piece. This is several thousand square feet of public lobby, and you'll see it in some of the later images. The lobby itself is going to be quite spectacular. That will give you a preview of everything, the complete set of offerings that the Institute will have both in the aquarium and in the insectarium. You know, increasingly what we're looking at is this facility is not just addressing, you know, fish and bugs, but the entire spectrum of nature. Next slide. So now we're looking from the river, from a passing riverboat or the incoming ferry coming to the new ferry terminal. The majority of the aquarium that exists on the left part of the screen, including the drum, is largely existing to remain. The area of focus, as you can see, is the new entry lobby. Immediately to the left of that, of course, we're keeping the Mississippi River exhibit and then doing some enhancements to it, but we're also upgrading the curtain wall, the glass skin on that, because of course it's 30 years old, and as we're working on this part of the building, it's appropriate to upgrade the glazing as well. And there will be a new, you see it in this slide, a new butterfly exhibit that occupies, that was kind of one of the most popular features of the insectarium that we're putting, of course, in a new home that will have these amazing views out to the river and beyond. So the scope of the renovation, of the exterior renovation, is primarily focused right here as you see it on the screen. Next slide. And this is a larger close-up view. It's important to note that although this is going to be a spectacular element and looks quite tall, it actually is shorter than the existing drum of the Amazon habitat. And you can see again to the left and the right, we're doing clever things with fritted glass because, as you can imagine, butterflies love light, but it has to be controlled daylight. And of course, the lobby will be this absolutely spectacular space in and of itself, which shows up in the next slide. So this is an initial conceptual sketch of this volume of space. And because the ticketed attraction starts on the second floor, yes, we have, of course, elevators for ADA accommodations, families with strollers, et cetera. But part of the experience is the experience of going right along this amazing, $1 million view of the Mississippi River as we look out over that beautiful expanse. So the experience of moving from the first floor up to the second floor to get to the beginning of the ticket experience will be an experience in and of itself. As you can begin to see here, the volume of the space is going to be spectacular. We're going to have video displays. It's going to be, we really believe, one of the iconic new rooms in the entire city of New Orleans. Next slide. This is the space, some of the early conceptual design renderings. This is inside looking out. If you were looking out toward past the glass and the palm trees, of course, you'd see the expanse of Oldenburg Park and the river and the boats moving across the river. So you can see as you move up the stairs, you'll be looking into the space with all of its amazing amenities, but also out to the river. Next slide. And as you come up along this beautiful sort of glazed floor condition inside this volume, you'll be looking to the left through a glass at one of our, again, many beautiful spaces, which will be the butterfly exhibit to the left. You see in the aqua blue, that isn't actually a fish tank. We're going to have the latest state-of-the-art video technology to where this space is constantly changing in the way it feels, and these amazing views from elevated views out toward the Mississippi River and beyond. Next slide. This is the floor plan of the second floor. What you see in the green space down below is the footprint for the butterfly garden. And again, it's not just the butterflies, it'll be this lush landscape with a water feature. So it'll be the sights, the sounds, the smells. It'll be a sort of a multi-sensory experience. And we're taking the best of the existing insectarium as it currently lives in the Customs House, and we're sort of bumping it up several orders of magnitude to make it even more spectacular, taking advantage of the views and the relationship to the lobby and the spatial conditions. And it's going to be, again, just a wonderful, wonderful experience. Next slide. And then shifting back out, this is an aerial view, and it's important because, you know, the benefit of the timing of this, you can see a lot that's going on at the foot of Canal Street. From a community perspective, you know, what we'll be seeing in place sooner rather than later is complete renovation of the ferry terminal. That work is underway. You know, what it means for the community is that you no longer have that physical blockage between experiencing the wonderful experience at Oldenburg Park and what you can get at Spanish Plaza. It will allow a continuous public experience there. There's a lot that is being fixed that will allow for a much richer community experience. We're also looking downriver because, as you can imagine, now with the shifting of the entrance, what we're already seeing is the trends, although a great number of people come in from the Canal Street side, increasingly they're approaching from the downriver side, which is the existing service entrance for the facility. So we're looking at ways in which we can respect the landscape and the rich conditions at Woldenberg, but also enhance the approach of visitors as they're now coming increasingly from the downriver side. Next slide. And so with that, what we're looking at is this whole transformation of the facility, which combined with the wonderful existing offerings at Woldenberg, we think will just create an amazing experience for the next 30 years. And that's all I had. So Ron, back to you.
Yeah, thank you, Mark. Great description. I think some of the key things that we need to repeat is that based on public meetings prior to this one, the discussion was a 30-year-old building, what do we want to do to restore it? As most people know, that whether it's your own home or any kind of attraction, you need to do upgrades. In 30 years, this building has served us well, the footprint has served us well, and therefore we said we're going to use the existing building and reuse it for other purposes. One of the things that was said more than anything else was the love of the butterfly garden and sanitarium and the opportunity to move that within this building, within the footprint of the building. With the changes with the theater, that gave us the ability to move butterflies and sanitarium into that part of the building. with one lobby that takes you both facilities rather than going in two separate lobbies. We heard a lot from young people, interesting, that what are you gonna do with sharks? Sharks were a big deal, a big part of the conversation. And we made it clear that sharks are a high priority for Audubon. We're not making any changes on that, we may be adding additional sharks within the building. But sharks are a priority, particularly with the conservation side of sharks. And in fact, they're disappearing at such a fast rate. They're so interested in so many people, but it's a great story to tell. Some of our threatened animals, endangered animals, penguins will stay within the building in its existing exhibit. So, pretty much that's what we heard. We're trying to follow through with that. We're excited about this building being within Wildenberg Park. The open space, green space of Wildenberg Park has served us well. We're excited about linking this park, Wildenberg, from Canal Street to the Moonwalk, to continue to work with the idea of Governor Nicholas and Esplanade linking to Crescent City Park. That project has been on hold during COVID. The existing people leasing the property for maritime purposes on Governor Nicholas and Esplanade will have that property for another 3 years. We're going to continue to get public input on the park itself and what we're going to do with that open space, but that's not part of this particular project. So we're excited about that. It links together. We're very excited about one day having a promenade that takes you all the way from Canal Street to the Industrial Canal, roughly about 3 miles of waterfront property. But again, that's for another day, for another public meeting. This is taking the existing building that we've housed the aquarium in for 30 years and looking at a restoration. So that kind of completes a description. We're about 25% into design. We're eager to hear any public input you'd like to add to it. I know there's a format you can type in if any questions you might have now. This will be posted online. If anyone has questions later, certainly go on to our online homepage, ask your questions, we'll answer them. If someone wants to make a phone call, we're available by phone. So we're excited about the project. We're excited about the city. We're very much excited about coming out of COVID with great things for our families to do and great economic opportunities and great conservation programs. So with that, Rebecca, did you have any questions that came up? Or any thoughts?
I think we've answered most of the questions. Just one, I'm answering one right now, which is what are the plans for the current insectarium being decommissioned, and is there an estimated time for completion of this project?
And the question again, in case everyone did not hear it, what's the plans for the customs house for the existing location for the butterfly insectarium? I need to say that building had served as well. That's another very historic building. When we moved the butterfly insectarium in, that was when they were moving federal offices out of the building, and the building was pretty much empty. They were concerned with federal buildings. That was not a good location with all the tourists, with all the activity, with the lack of parking, and so they were moving federal employees out of the building. There was vacant space. We moved in the building, and it really has served us well. We have, again, much like the butterfly, much like the aquarium, far exceeded our expectation with the love people had for bugs, insects, and butterflies. It's a great education. Without insects, we don't have nature. We don't have the beautiful gardens we have, the flowers, the trees, plays a really important role. We like to think of the history of the butterfly insectarium. We served a lot of families which might have gone in not understanding the importance of insects, but left with a love of insects. So the future, they're moving federal employees back into the building, particularly after Katrina, after the oil spill, FEMA, other offices of the federal government are moving back within the building. I don't want to speak for GSA and the use of the building, but I think my understanding, it will be more of a continuation of federal office space as opposed to a museum or another attraction.
And estimated time for completion? Estimated
time for completion, we're, like I said, 25%, like to get 50% in design. As we get input from this meeting, I would hope that spring of 2023 would be the opening. We're looking at COVID with the restrictions that we had in 2020. We're looking at a reopening in 21. We're looking at 22 continue to grow, but by 22 and 23, we like to see our city back blowing and going like it was prior to the virus, and a healthy city, a healthy state, a healthy country, and doing well with tourism back, families coming back and enjoying the riverfront. Other questions, comments?
Thank you for the comments we received.
Yeah, other comments, questions? And again, you can, if you don't want to do this online, if you want to do this on this call right now, certainly go to our webpage. This whole thing will be videotaped. It's available to go back and look at. We're available to answer any questions. And if there are other questions, I just want to share that thank you for this community. This community has been very, very good all of it. The zoo continues to do well. There's always constant upgrades in the zoo. Audubon Park is a great public space. The Audubon Nature Center in the east, if you haven't been there recently, go back there. The trails are doing well. The fresh growth of landscaping trees on spring. It's a beautiful place to visit. The Species Survival Center and Research Center continues to work on conservation of endangered animals. The Wilderness Park on the West Bank continues to do great things. Waterbury Park is a great open space on the river. Again, as I said, we're excited about further open space and linking the riverfront for promenades, walking, jogging, bicycle ride. So we got a lot going on in our city. We have a lot to be thankful for. And I do want to thank the community for all the great support over the years. Thank you. We look forward to talking to you later. We're going to sign off for now.